Walter Show, and I am your host, Ricky Walter, your neighborhood mental health practitioner. Thank you for joining me. Now, being a scientist practitioner and a person of faith, I get the unique opportunity to visit this subject of mental illness from at least two perspectives. I know personally that living with mental health concerns can be a frightening proposition. And I've designed this program to provide relevant information and expert consultation to empower you to make informed decisions, especially if you are a person of faith living with mental illness. So let me give you the textbook definition of mental illness. According to the National Alliance for Mental Illness, a mental illness is a condition that affects a person's thinking, feelings, and mood, that affects their ability to relate to others and or impair their daily functioning. Are you aware that 1 out of 5 adults in the United States over 18 are diagnosed with mental illness? That's approximately 50 million people. According to the mental health report published in 2016 by the Child Mind Institute, 1 in 5 children suffers from mental health issues or learning disorders. Now, 80% of chronic mental disorders begin in childhood. My purpose is to bring awareness of these issues to the forefront. Mental illness are in many cases treatable and does not impact one way or another God's love for you. So today I'm going to talk about a mental disorder normally recognized and diagnosed in children. It is known as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. You see, ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder which is associated with the way messages are carried from the brain. I would like for you to take a look at this clip that sheds a little light on the signs and symptoms of childhood ADHD. Take a look.
Adrian, how are you? How you doing? Give me 5.
School is becoming a struggle for first grader Adrian, who is easily distracted.
He's really active. He doesn't stay still.
You get lots of homework, Adrian?
Yes,
Yeah? How many pages?
15.
He's unable to complete the homework.
He is, and he doesn't stay still. He just gets distracted easily.
Pediatrician Blanca Fresno of Children's Physicians Medical Group says children who have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, are more likely to have learning difficulties, but can succeed in school with the right support and treatment.
ADHD is a condition that affects the child in such a way that he or she is not able to control their behavior. It affects them in their everyday life. It affects them in their school performance and in their relationships.
The 3 main symptoms of ADHD are inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity.
When the symptoms start affecting all the areas and things become out of control, pretty much you need to seek an evaluation.
Does that describe your child? Now, according to the CDC, 11% of children ages 4 through 17 have been diagnosed with ADHD, which is about 6.4 million children. Now let's review the 3 main features of ADHD. Inattentiveness. It's not being able to follow instructions or listening when spoken to directly. Hyperactivity, squirming, being fidgety, tapping their hands and feet, making sounds and noises, and impulsivity, which is like leaving situations he or she is expected to remain in, blurting out answers before a question is completed, or intruding on others' games and activities without being invited. Let me describe your child's world for you. Imagine millions of lights flashing. That in and of itself is distractive. Now, that is the world your child who has ADHD lives in. See, you as the parent, teacher, or whoever have to find a way to import information that the child can process with all of the lights flashing. So let me make some suggestions. Try getting your child's attention by using gentle touch. For example, placing your hand on the child's arm or shoulder, okay? Making direct eye contact. in using what I refer to as replay, asking the child to repeat in his or her words what they heard you say. See, the normal systems are not designed around children with ADHD, so it's important that you build a scaffolding of support around him or her in any place that you can. For example, your church and the school and the community. It's important that you validate your child's accomplishments no matter how small they are, and find ways to make him or her feel that you are okay with how they are. See, I found my way living in this big world with ADHD because I had a great support team. Let me introduce you to a member of my support team when I was growing up. Watch this.
I'm Jeannie Shaver. I've been a school teacher for 34 years. I started in 74, 75 in Crowley, Texas. I taught choral music and English because I got a double teaching field. I was in the junior high primarily at Crowley, but I had one class of choral music, choir at Crowley, and I worked with the drama director there on musicals, which brought us really close to our kids that were in the musicals. And Ricky was in one of those musicals, The Music Man, in maybe his freshman or sophomore year of high school. I remember Ricky, when he was a freshman, came into Crowley High School. I was teaching choir there one period a day, pardon me. And he had a big voice, and a big personality, huge personality. And he didn't start out really getting in trouble, but he had so much energy and so much joy in him that you couldn't not notice him. But then, I realized there was some musical ability there, and I asked him, "Do you play the piano?" And he's like, "Yeah, I play the piano." And so I had him play, and he played by ear, and he was very good. And he could sing all of Andre Crouch's songs, and I loved Andre Crouch. I learned so much from him about playing gospel, because just listening to him and hearing him sing, and we'd sing together, and I'd harmonize with him. And so I realized, he was really, really bright. But I knew he was getting in trouble in other places in school, and he would tell me. And so I just thought, the more I can use him and get him directed toward music, he'll be successful. And if he has some successes there won't be a need to act out so much in other areas where he maybe is not as comfortable. And sure enough, some of that did happen. Some of that did work. Ricky reminded me of a time when I took him out in the hall, and I was very frustrated because he was causing a lot of trouble in the choir. Acting out, not listening, just talking too much probably. Maybe little pranks too. I don't know. I don't remember it all because it's been a long time ago. But I do remember taking him out in the hall and saying, "I don't know what I'm going to do with you," because I just had already grown an attachment to him, and I knew he was so gifted. But it seemed like just talking to him that day, he changed. He just completely changed toward me. I think maybe he saw that I was a real person and that he was causing me grief. And his compassion kicked in and realized, this lady really cares. She doesn't need for me to be destroying everything she's trying to do in class. And he was more cooperative after that. And that's probably when I first started finding out what he could do, and that he could play the piano, and that he had this wonderful solo voice, and that he could create songs. I mean, he could just make up things, which I never have been able to do. I'm not one that just makes up music. I'm more of a reader. You give me a piece of music, and I can play through it and read it and learn the melody and everything from the music. But this was a whole new world to me, to see him just make up things and just play all over the piano with such expertise. And I mean, he was only, 16, 15 years old? Might not have been even driving at that time. And I'm just like, for heaven's sake, child, you can do things that I just wish I could even start to do. And I just knew that God had blessed him, and that God had shown on him and given him amazing gifts. So from there, I just started trying to help him channel those gifts. But with ADHD and that hyperactivity, I think we do have to really work at giving them a chance to move in the classroom, giving them a chance to, like I always put my ADHD kids up handing out papers. If there was something that a student could do, I gave it to an ADHD kid. I let them hand out papers. I got them up to do dramatic, let's reenact this. Whatever I could do to get them active, because they just don't have the ability to sit still for long periods. Now, these high school kids, a little more able to, but I'm talking about really young kids. They need to be up moving, and they cannot learn unless they are active. And us trying to get them to sit in a chair for an hour is ridiculous, because it's not within their capability. I think that's for educators what you need to work on, is you need to find where they excel, help them have successes there, and then there's not as much need for them to get the negative attention, because kids want attention no matter what. They want attention. And if they can't get positive attention, they're going to get negative attention. And what we have to do as educators is help direct them into positive attention and help them find their gifts so that they don't have to go after negative attention. And so that worked with Ricky, and I'm so thankful and so grateful that it all turned out the way it has. And he has done far more than I ever dreamed that he could do. I thought he would would have some kind of music career in the church or in religious music, gospel music, but I just did not know that he was going to be such an entrepreneur and all these businesses and the foster children agency and all these things that have gone on. I'm just so grateful to God for how He's using me.
So you see, having the right people in your life can serve to help you overcome any struggles life throws at you. Historically, the faith community associated these types of issues with spiritual weakness and personal sin or lack of faith, and that is simply not the case. I am a living testament that you can overcome misperceptions of spiritual inadequacy. See, God loves you and He wants the best for you. So today I sit here as a senior pastor of 20 years, a licensed professional mental health practitioner, entrepreneur, husband, father, and grandfather. So if God is for you, who can be against you? We have a lot more coming your way here on the Ricky Walter Show, as we find ways to dispel the stigmas and myths associated with mental illness and work with the faith community as we reach out to love and appreciate and accept those living with mental illness. We're going to provide you more information, so don't you miss any of the upcoming shows. And you can drop any questions or concerns that you would like for me to discuss in my email, and it's on your screen. I will also have an question answering segment on this show addressing any questions that you have in that inbox. So even if I don't discuss a relevant topic that you may have on a show, I still might discuss it or answer it in the segment of the question answering part. Like me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. In the meantime, nobody can beat you at being you. So be the best you can be.